But police say Lee and Andrew O'Brien both have strong alibis. The brothers say they began to realize that Mommy Dearest might be a monster.
She doesn't even know what reality is anymore. She's been lying so long, and I think that somewhere along the way, reality left. And so she just kept going. She knew nothing else. Lie after lie.
They also remember how vengeful she could be if she thought a man was mistreating her.
She would, what I call, punish them. Kill dogs, attempt to kill dogs, poison dogs. And if someone would have like a saltwater fish tank, then she would pour Ajax in there or Drano and kill all these fish.
Hey human family, how are you? It's Darren. Welcome to another episode of Fully Alive Again. You guys, today we're going to look at one of the most damaging, destructive forces of nature on the planet. It destroys more family, more potential, more lives than anything else in the human experience. Today we're going to take a look at a narcissist mother. So let's do what we do and dive deep.
No tears, no fears. Fully alive again after 6 years.
I want to start by saying I'm deeply sorry if your mother was a narcissist. If any of your parents were a narcissist. But there's a special pain and devastation that comes from a narcissist mother. They are very stealth-like, so they are tremendously hard to detect. They are probably the fakest people on earth that cause so much damage to people, to their children, to their husbands, to their family. A narcissist mother, in my opinion, is one of the most destructive energies on earth. So I know the hell that you've gone through having a narcissist mother. Some of the things that they do to their children are insurmountable, almost impossible to completely heal from. Doesn't mean that you can't become fully alive. It just means that you have to adjust in ways that others don't to become fully alive and remain fully alive. Does that make sense? You see, being the son of a narcissist mother and seeing her wake of destruction that has affected generations, and all of the research that I put into this sickness, this evil energy that's among us, I firmly believe that every mental illness, neurosis, dysfunction on this planet stem from relationships with narcissists. I've watched in my own family narcissist mothers turn their kids into schizophrenics. That their kids are later diagnosed in life with schizophrenia. And I've watched these kids be perfectly normal throughout their teenage years. And I'm not saying perfectly normal in terms of dysfunction, massively dysfunctional. But schizophrenia was driven into them. These people are crazy makers. They are sick, demonic, evil energy. I've watched people become every type of dysfunctional behavior and mental illness that you can imagine, from anxiety, schizophrenia, anger management, anger issues, turn into gang members, into alcoholics, into drug addicts, into never having the ability to build relationships. And one of the most sad things of all They even groom them. And when I say the word groom, I am fully aware of what I'm saying. And so are they when they're doing this. Even groom their children to become narcissists themselves. This is the energy that exists among us. And if that's not evil, I don't know what is. Every dysfunctional behavior, from violence to drug addictions to sex addiction to crime to babies being born out of wedlocks to the massive divorce problems we have, the massive drug problems in the world, every single one of them, I would stake my life on it, can be traced back to a narcissist parent, a narcissist relationship somewhere. And then they're compounded by a society that is either unaware or in denial that these types of people exist at this level. We live in a cause and effect world. These people groom their children, their family, their mate, their husbands, their friends to be complicit in their own self-destruction, creating self-sabotage. If you find a person that just can't get motivated, that's lazy or lethargic, I would stake everything I own that there's a narcissist somewhere in their background. You can find highly productive people in narcissist families too, to make the narcissist look good. They cheer their children out in the world when they're talking about them, but once that door shuts in the house, they gaslight them. They groom them to become crazy, or they groom them to become narcissists themselves. And they groom them to be deathly loyal to them. This is what makes it so hard to detect. The way that these women weaponize their children, what on earth could be worse than taking a child away from their father? And when I say not only physically away, psychologically and emotionally away, to weaponize that child against their own father. If that's not evil, I don't know what evil is. There is no congenial, agreeable word that should be used. What is worse than that? I don't understand the world of psychology that won't call these things what they really are. The self-sabotage that they create in their children. The division of the family, sibling against sibling. Making you feel guilty and responsible for their happiness. For the narcissist mother's happiness. These people are so sick, demented, and destructive, they should be incarcerated. And there should be preventative methods that prevents these people from having children and adopting children. So if you had or have a narcissist parent, I want you to know that it is 100% not your fault. You were a good boy or a good girl. You came into this world a beautiful, innocent baby. And for whatever reasons or circumstances, you were born to an evil entity. It is not you. It is not your fault. And do not take ownership for the things that they tried to project onto you. And when you get a chance, if not right now, close your eyes, see the youngest version of yourself, and tell them using your name. For instance, I would say, little Darren, it was not your fault. You're a good boy and you deserved love. It is not your fault. You're okay now. I got you. You're protected. Go play. Go live. You are loved, and it wasn't your fault. I love you, and I release you to be free and to drop the guilt, shame, and pain from not being loved. and talk to yourself in whatever way that you need to. But let that inner child know that they're okay. All right? And you men do this too. This is not something that's, oh, it's too touchy-feely. This is real shit that you need to do. Things like this. All right, you guys, enough of my rant. Let's take a look at a narcissist mother in action and just how bad it can get.
He's accomplished and he's head over heels for her.
Quite a change for the woman who'd struggled as a teen mom to raise 3 kids, living hand to mouth.
We were living in motel rooms if we could, bouncing around, couch surfing.
Michelle, now the kind of bride who shows a little leg. Greg, the kind of guy who buys his wife a yogurt shop to keep her busy. Perfect, what with her new taste for the sweet life. Greg spending his spare time on alpha male activities, karate chopping, cinder blocks, and bodybuilding.
He was like a frat boy, like literally through and through. He was a jock, but a genius at the same time.
But one October night, the cowboy Camelot came to an end with a single gunshot.
Netcom 911, where is the emergency?
That's Michelle Williams calling for help. Greg has been shot.
Oh my God,
This is the actual dash cam video from some of the first officers arriving on the scene when they discover Michelle distraught with a nasty goose egg on her cheek.
Who else is in the house?
My 4-year-old and my husband.
Your 4-year-old and the husband.
Hoping to shed more light on the attack, police bring Michelle, their only witness, down to the station. Then, as a sympathetic officer holds her hand, Michelle tells Sergeant John McGrew an unbelievable story.
Walk me through the story that she told you.
She was asleep, woke up by an intruder.
Michelle says she woke up as an intruder in black was breaking in through the back door. The bandit passed right by 4-year-old Michaela, asleep on the living room couch, and approached the bedroom. There he ran into Michelle and whacked her, knocking her out.
She was struck by an unknown object.
Police later find a wrench at the scene, the right size to plant that painful bump on her cheek.
That's what actually kind of
It knocked me out.
Michelle says she's still groggy when she sees the man in black standing over Greg. There is a gunshot, and the intruder disappears through a back door.
I screamed and I ran over to Greg and I reached for him. I grabbed a hold of his hand and I felt blood running down the side.
Greg has been shot once in the head. And eventually, there in the interview room, Sergeant McGrew informs Michelle her husband is dead.
There's not much I can say in this. Greg's deceased. Okay.
The widow Williams is inconsolable.
She said, I'm a sweet little angel. I ain't never done nothing to nobody. I'm just floating around, shitting rainbows, butterflies, and unicorns. That's all I do, and taking care of the babies. Now remember, they stated that her husband was a very athletic, alpha male. Very successful, big-sized fella. And yet, the violent one is whom? I'm sure you know where this story's going. Was it the alpha aggressive male who's out in society, kicking ass, building companies, physically strong, likes contact sports? Or was it the docile female that was the violent one? You see, we have a very distorted society, a gynocentric society that's pushing a narrative that is just false. Women are just as aggressive as men. They're passive aggressive most of the time. They may have other people do their dirt for them and or destroy a man by destroying his reputation and his legacy and turning his kids against him, which is an ultimate form of violence. But they're just as violent, if not more so. It's just harder to detect. It's more covert. And a lot of times they go out and act out like this woman does.
Now back to that developing story in Keller.
This story catches the eye of the media,
The victim's wife called 911.
including TV's queen of crime, Nancy Grace.
Cops find Daddy shot dead in his own bed.
Who was the intruder in black who shot Greg? Turns out there is no shortage of suspects because Greg's gilded life had a gritty side.
He had an edge to him. He rubbed people the wrong way.
There's drug dealers and bad people. He's kind of like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Michelle, trying to help identify that killer in black, mentions others police might want to talk to, including Greg's ex-wife, Kathy Williams.
Him and his ex-wife fight a lot.
She doesn't mention the two men in the world who may have disliked Greg the most. His stepsons, Army vets Andrew and Lee O'Brien.
How much did you not like him?
I hated him. I don't throw that word around lightly, but I literally hated him.
As sometimes happens, the stepchildren felt unwanted and unwelcome by their mother's new husband.
Was there ever a point that you were happy that he was dead?
Yes, immediately. When they told me he was dead, I was like, cool, whatever. How's mom?
Both you and your brother openly say you despised Greg.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have anything to do with his murder?
No.
One might wonder how much of a role the mother played in developing this kind of hate and umbrage in these men against their stepfather. Now, it certainly sounds like he may have been an asshole. I'm not saying there aren't assholes in the world. And I'm not even saying to all you ladies that men don't do exactly what this woman is doing. But what men don't have is a gynocentric society that protects them first and makes them guilty first in any altercation with a woman.
Police are beginning to wonder whether there was an intruder at all. Keller Police Captain Brenda Slovak, the lead investigator, drives us to the big house on Jacob Avenue and back to the night of the shooting.
And from right here, you could see the body.
Correct. I could see him in the bed.
But in that bedroom, there is not a single sign of a struggle. And in a house loaded with valuables and $20,000 in cash, the killer takes nothing and leaves nothing.
Did you ever find fibers or any DNA evidence or any other kind of evidence of an intruder?
No.
So what? You have an unknown assailant break into his home, shoot him dead, and leave for what?
And then police practically trip over the most important evidence in the case. Right here in these crime scene photos. The murder weapon, the very recently smoking gun, Greg's gun. Yep, shot with his own gun.
If someone's going to come into your home and try and do you some harm, normally you would bring your own gun.
And right next to the gun, the fired shell casing and the wrench possibly used to hit Michelle. Arranged neat as a pawn shop showcase.
You saw this picture. What was the first thing that went through your mind?
Staged.
When you were sitting across from her, did you ever think that this woman is lying to me?
Oh, yes, sir.
Back at the police station, a now suspicious Sergeant McGrew tells Michelle the crime scene suggests only two possibilities. Either she shot Greg, or Greg shot himself.
I did not hurt my husband, and he did not hurt himself. There was a man in my house.
She denies it no fewer than 6 times until this moment.
If he self-inflicted it, you need to tell me. I mean, this is it. I don't, we're getting wits end. You've got to be honest with me, Michelle. If he did it and you covered it up, just tell me.
He did.
Huh?
He did.
She said he did it.
He did it.
Yeah.
She immediately folds and went, okay, you got me. He shot himself.
Michelle admits she's told a pack of lies and now offers a second version of Greg's death. Michelle now says she was sleeping on the...
This is one thing about a narcissist, especially when they get older. They leave themselves open. They are so used to getting away with their gaslighting and manipulation that they really become so disillusioned that they think they're really clever and smarter than everybody else. And they leave such a wide gap that exposes them in the things that they do. After my ex filed a false restraining order on me, which I won. I collected so much data on this woman in case she came at me again, that if I was to unleash that, her friends would fall out of their chairs about this monster. This is just an example of how foolish these people are. And like I say, we don't need to seek revenge, but we definitely need to protect ourselves.
Couch with 4-year-old Michaela. She hears the gunshot and goes into the bedroom to find Greg had shot himself. She cleaned it all up and arranged things to look like a home invasion.
I knew I had to make it look as if it was a burglary.
And get this, to really sell the story, Michelle says she hit herself in the face with that wrench.
I went like that thinking I would just have a little bruise, and that really backfired bad.
Michelle says she only wanted to protect their 4-year-old daughter Michaela and Greg's reputation. After spending...
I did the best I could for my daughter, but she keeps choosing bad men and getting into toxic relationships. I'm just at hell's end. I just don't know what to do to get these children in line. When you hear stuff like that, there's a high probability that you're listening to a narcissistic mother. Or excuse me, a narcissist mother. A Luciferian agent of chaos. You see these type of narcissist mother crying after their son who's in a gang has been murdered, when they know good and well they strip this kid of any potential, any ability to live a normal life and to be a productive citizen, adding value to his family, community, nation, and world. They strip you down, they break you down, and then they play like the concerning mother who was doing all that she could to help her children fly straight. And the world buys it. These people are the most phony, destructive people, and they continuously get away with it.
5 hours in the interrogation room, police finally release Michelle, who soon finds consolation in comfort food.
The very morning after, Michelle Williams goes out to breakfast to IHOP and basically orders the lumberjack breakfast. She's not worried about her dead husband at all. She's living it up. Sausage, pancakes, eggs, the work.
You see, and this pertains to overall all narcissism, the one who recovers from the relationship first is the one without empathy, the one that lacks feelings, the one that's devastated and it takes years to recover from, the messed up children, the devastated husband are the ones who are the true victims. When you see a woman jump from man to man and relationship to relationship and turn around and start a new life just at the snap of a finger, it's highly probable that that's the narcissist, not the one who's going crazy and saying that this person is a narcissist or trying to get their life together. It's the one that's calm and caring and that really loves this person and has moved on with their lives. And why can't he or she get it together?
In Texas, a murder charge can land you on death row, but not Michelle. Her luck holds out.
I don't know how she managed to do it, but Michelle Williams managed to finagle a plea deal out of the state.
Prosecutors say Michelle cleaned the crime scene so well, they didn't have much of a case.
This is a circumstantial evidence case. There's no doubt about it. Of course, not in small measure because she had altered the crime scene.
The deal, announced in a press release, requires Michelle to plead guilty, not to the murder charge in the indictment, but tampering with evidence and deadly conduct. Instead of death, the recommended sentence will be just 18 years. In a jailhouse interview, Michelle seems pleased with her bargain.
With a plea deal, I'm looking at a couple of years before I'm out for parole. So I'm actually, if you could say, looking forward to getting the sentencing over with so I can start moving towards the end of this hell.
And to all you men listening out there, watching this video, know this and know it 100%. Women weaponize tears. This is how they were designed by nature to defend off the aggression or the inability to control and have power in their environment. When a sentient human being uses tears effectively, it's understandable. It's all right. When a narcissist uses tears, they're using them as weapons. They weaponize their tears. We are genetically designed to respond to that, to the tears of a woman and a little girl, with the utmost compassion and concern. When a narcissist does this, and anyone listening, be it male or female, when some woman is crying, telling you their story, make sure you stick with the logic. Make sure you transcend the tears, because they are weaponized by so many women.
But before she can be sentenced, Michelle has another surprise.
She's pregnant just before sentencing. And not only is she pregnant, she's pregnant with twins.
Sentencing was deferred until after Michelle's due date. But prosecutors say the pregnancy turns out to be another lie to delay prison. The conception was an immaculate deception. But then, Michelle makes the mistake of a lifetime. She grants an interview to the national TV crime show 48 Hours.
Did you murder your husband, Greg?
No, I did not.
There she goes again. Michelle flip-flops on her story. She tells 48 Hours she's an innocent woman. And she pulls an old, tried and untrue story out of mothballs. The man in black did it.
There was an intruder in the house, and that person killed my husband.
You see two things to unpack here. One is the absolute proof that we live in a gynocentric society, is that she lies about being pregnant with twins, and no one prosecutes her or further investigates what a liar this woman is. Then she gets cocky enough, because the narcissist always wants to take a victory lap on the corpse, on your destroyed life, on the reputation they destroyed, on the life they destroyed, on the child they destroyed. They have no feelings. That's why I say over and over again, if you cannot feel and you lack the capacity to love and you lack feelings, you can do anything to anybody. Just because your narcissists are the narcissists that you've heard about in the way that they're described in the DSM, and the way that the vast majority of YouTube podcasts describe these people as being separate, that the psychopath is different from the narcissist, the covert narcissist is different from the overt narcissist, the dark triad is different from this. All of these categories are the same people, behaving differently in different environments around different people. If you don't have the capacity to love and to feel, you can be any one of those categories at different times. Now, she's taking her victory lap by going on these talk shows, which she was not supposed to do, and then changing her story again. Like I say, one thing about narcissists, when you're sitting there thinking, why would she do this? One thing about these people is that they're all batshit crazy. They're cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. And they're disillusioned. They don't see it. This exposes them at times that where a normal sentient human being says, what the F are they doing? And they do it, they expose themselves differently, no matter how sophisticated or educated they are, it comes out if you really understand these people.
He had already pled guilty, and then she gets on national television and says, well, what I really meant was I'm not guilty. What I really meant is an intruder came in. I really meant that I have a good idea who the intruder was.
It doesn't play well with the judge.
If this story's true, this lady needs a trial.
He revokes the plea deal and orders Michelle to stand trial for murder. The woman accused of shooting her husband in the head just shot herself in the foot.
You have a Fifth Amendment right to remain silent for a reason. Our U.S. Constitution protects you from the actions of the state. What the U.S. Constitution cannot protect you from is yourself.
At the Tarrant County Courthouse in Fort Worth, Texas, it's finally time for truth and consequences. Michelle Williams is on trial for the murder of her husband, Greg.
An elaborate cover-up. This story continues to evolve.
The media following every twist and turn in the murder case.
The motive was money. Tried and true, age-old money.
A fraud examiner says the Williams finances were mismanaged.
Lots of problems here, right?
They tended to be living beyond their means.
They both had their respective jobs in this case. His job was to make money, and her job was to spend money. And they were both very good at their jobs.
And prosecute.
Now, I just want to chime in here and say that notice that his life started to go downhill. When he met her, he had successful businesses. He even bought her a business. But when you're with an evil narcissist, your life becomes chaotic and it starts to go downhill. That's one of the indications and warning signs is that your life isn't working out. And if your life has never worked out, that's also an indication that you probably had a narcissist mother that did not equip you with the skills and with the love that is necessary to succeed in life. And they did that not only because they don't have it, because they enjoy watching you fail and suffer. I know this is crazy, but it's true. This man's life not only went downhill, it was lost because he did not understand just how evil, destructive, and violent a narcissist woman could be. And please don't misconstrue what I just said. You can also have a narcissist mother and be very successful, be a millionaire, be on top of your game. You can also have a narcissist wife that stays with you, just like Jada Pinkett with Will Smith. There's no shoe that fits all. These people have different preferences and different ways that they want to destroy their prey. Like I've said before, some animals, like a bear, eat you alive. They'll chew on your leg while you're still alive. Other animals go right for the throat and take you out. It all depends on the narcissist. But one thing is certain, they will squash your potential slowly but surely, and they will make your life miserable and mold you into catering to them instead of living your life to the fullest as a partnership in a loving relationship.
Lay out their theory. Greg and Michelle fought over money that night. Greg hit Michelle or threw something, causing that goose egg on her cheek.
It's our suspicion that this is an injury that was caused in the fracas with her husband earlier in the evening that led to his demise.
Provoked, Michelle enacted a plan that would get her revenge and riches. Prosecutors say after Greg fell asleep, Michelle shot him in the head with his own gun, then arranging the evidence and cleaning up the crime scene to look like the killer was an intruder. Michelle brought to tears as gruesome photos of her dead husband are shown. Prosecutors are so successful in painting Michelle as a pants-on-fire caliber liar.
She lied about it, she lied about it, and when she finished lying about it, she kept on lying about it.
Her defense attorneys are forced to make a startling admission in open court.
Probably at this point, you have made up your mind, and rightly so, that Michelle, she lies.
But the most devastating witness to take the stand...
It's her own son, her own adult son. It's Andrew O'Brien.
He testifies his mother had concocted yet another whopper to save herself. She asked him to set up Greg's ex-wife, Kathy Williams, as the killer.
Michelle asked me to call some friends and have them frame Kathy.
She said, I need you to call a friend, tell them to go to Walmart, buy an extra large sweater, take that sweater out to the woods somewhere, fire a pistol so that the gunpowder gets on it.
She asked him to plant that sweater in Kathy's car where police would find it.
You were brought up to the witness stand to testify about your mother. How did you feel?
God, it was probably the worst feeling I've ever had. When they asked me to point to Michelle Williams, I could not make eye contact.
See, what that last clip illustrates is how a narcissistic mother views their children. They see us as tools, as playthings. They really do. As sad as this is to the listeners who have narcissistic mothers, your mother didn't love you. They're incapable of love. And as strange as this sounds, it's not personal. As I stated in the beginning of this video, you were an innocent, pure, good little boy or girl. They are demonic and evil and sick. But they use us as tools for whatever it is they may want. The sky's the limit. She needed him to be a tool to clear her name. Never mind that he may go to jail for if he did what she said. Never mind how his life may turn out. I need you to do what I need you to do. You are my tool. You are my plaything. And another takeaway from this last clip was that, did you notice he called his mother Michelle? He wouldn't call her by her first name. I mean, by using the word mother. He referred to her as Michelle. That says a lot about his level of awareness of who his mother
There she
really
is, swinging kettlebells with her new boyfriend. Her mind was also getting a workout. She tells her son, Andrew O'Brien, it really was murder. What's more, now she wonders whether the killer might be her own son, Andrew's brother, Lee.
She asked me, she said, do you think your brother could have done it? And she asked me if her own son could have killed Greg. She had to plant a reasonable doubt that someone else could have been there that night. Someone else could have squeezed that trigger.
By pinning it on you?
Yes.
But police say Lee and Andrew O'Brien both have strong alibis. The brothers say they began to realize that Mommy Dearest might be a monster.
She doesn't even know what reality is anymore. She's been lying so long, and I think that somewhere along the way, reality left. And so she just kept going. She knew nothing else. Lie after lie.
They also remember how vengeful.
You see how quickly a narcissist mother can turn on their own children? I have witnessed this in my own life. It is astonishing how detached these people are from their own kids. I'm sure you see kind of a dynamic of the golden child and the bad child between these two brothers. I won't go into that right now because it would digress and take up a whole lot of time. I'll certainly be doing shows on that in the future. But this really shows the lack of empathy and love for your own children. This woman knows good and well what she did. Now grasp that. She knows what she did, and she's willing to throw her own son under the bus and put him in the electric chair or gas chamber or lethal injection as long as she continues to live freely. Please, I know this is hard to understand. Your mother, if she's a narcissist, never loved you. Even when she was pregnant, she was thinking of ways to utilize you for narcissistic supply. It's all one big game to these people. One evil, methodical, insidious, vulgar game. They think your life means nothing. You're a plaything to them. This is why no contact with your own mother is paramount. They will slowly drive you into insane, into shame, self-sabotage, and self-destruction. And it will happen quick or slow, but it is a 100% guarantee that it will happen if you stay in a close relationship with these monsters.
Another problem with the suicide theory pointed out to us at the crime scene. Although Greg's left hand is in view, his right hand, his shooting hand, was tucked under the covers.
So he would have had to have shot himself and then put his hand under the comforter.
Correct.
In their final defense of the suicide theory, Michelle's attorneys try to explain why she concocted that intruder story and staged the crime scene.
She's not a career criminal, ladies and gentlemen. This is not something she had time to think about. She panicked. She was working, like I said, to protect her baby girl, Michaela, who was in the other room.
She has tried to pull the wool over the eyes of family and friends and police and prosecutors and courts, the media, the community, and ultimately you. Don't let her get away with it.
After all of Michelle's Pinocchio moments, the intruder in black, the suicide theory, the imaginary twins, the jury comes back and hits Michelle right between the lies.
Ms. Williams, if you would stand, please. The verdict says we, the jury, find the defendant, Michelle Marie Williams, guilty of the offense of murder as charged in the indictment.
Michelle Williams, who had once been offered a plea deal of 18 years, is now sentenced.
Do you think she could have gotten away with it?
I think she could have gotten away with it. If she had come up with the suicide story and stuck with the suicide story, she could have gotten away with it.
What do you think was the one thing that kept her away from freedom?
The fact that she couldn't keep her mouth shut.
Instead, Michelle is now serving what amounts to a life sentence. It's little solace for Andrew, who already considers his mother dead to him.
Would you say you have a mother?
No, I don't like to even consider her my mother. I had someone who gave birth to me, and that's it.
But he acknowledges that his twisted relationship with his mendacious mother has given him at least some direction.
She taught me exactly what not to do in life, and I've learned pretty well from it.
So you learned from example from her.
Right.
What not to do.
Exactly.
So there's a happy ending here. Justice was served. This woman will never see daylight again on the outside of prison. Now, as you know, most of the time there's not even a closure to the relationship, and let alone justice. But there is one takeaway here at the ending of this story that we all can learn from and use. Her son said he learned what not to do to live a good life through the woman that birthed him. You see, another takeaway is that we are not our parents. Yes, when we're young, our parents have complete and utter control over us. They are a god to us. But we are birthed through them. They do not own us. We are not them. And he had the ability to differentiate birth from mothering. And he let his mother go. I can't tell you what to do there. Only you can come to your own conclusions about how you should handle a narcissist mother. I personally believe, and this is my opinion and my experience, that you got to let them go. You got to end the relationship to be free, to create your own personality, to become your own person. You have to detach from them. And also to get rid of the shame and the inferiority complex from trying to please these monsters or looking after these monsters and constantly being whittled away. You are free to make your own decisions, and that is the right decision. You cannot allow people who have not gone through this experience place judgment on you. Man, that's your mother, man. That woman gave birth to you. No matter what, that's your mama. Fuck that. You have to take care of yourself. You owe no one your sanity, your peace of mind. You are not indebted to anyone. They chose to have you. That was their responsibility to feed you, clothe you, and take care of you. They did you no favors there. That was their duty. You can appreciate that and move on. It was not their duty to harm you, destroy you, abuse you. All right, you guys? And remember, it's better to be abused, used, damaged, and destroyed by an ass clown mother narcissist than to be an ass clown mother narcissist. Stand up, stand tall, be no one's doormat. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until then, be good to one another. Peace. Be well.